Hi guys, this is Jamie Keech from Resource Insider, and I'm sitting down today with Brian Paes-Braga. He is a director and an investor in DeepGreen Resources. He's also the chairman of Thunderbird Films. So, Brian, thanks for coming in to talk today.
Very happy to be here, Jamie.
So,
as always.
Today I mostly want to talk about what you're doing with DeepGreen. It's one of the most innovative mining companies in the world. I don't even know if you can call it a mining company.
No, I mean, mining, we call it harvesting, but yes.
So can you give everyone the 10,000 foot view of what DeepGreen is, what you guys are actually doing and hoping to achieve?
Yeah, and maybe I'll take even a step back because I got introduced to DeepGreen when I was still the CEO of LithiumX.
Mm-hmm.
And LithiumX, which sold now almost 2 years ago, was a company focused on, the mission was helping wean the world off fossil fuels by exploring for lithium. And through that journey, I realized that lithium was a core component, but it wasn't the vast amount of what a battery is today, which is lithium, cobalt, manganese, copper, and nickel.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I was at a event in London, and a gentleman said, "Hey, have you ever heard of underwater nodules?" And I remember going back to my desk. It was an all-day event for the crisis group, and I'm just looking through polymetallic nodules. Like, what is this? Where are they from? And realized that this deposit, this area where DeepGreen has its deposit, is the largest fairway underwater, but of nickel, copper, cobalt, and manganese in the entire world. It is the largest. And on the 2 blocks that DeepGreen has, we have almost 1 billion tons of 7% copper equivalent. And when I looked at that, I was like, I mean, I gotta know more.
Is there a on-land deposit anywhere in the world that compares to that?
Nothing.
Nothing that I can think of
Nothing.
that comes to mind?
No, I mean, if you think about copper deposits now coming online, new ones, you're lucky to get 0.5% on a porphyry.
So what are the mechanics or what are the steps involved in actually harvesting the nodules from the ocean floor? If I remember correctly from our past conversations, there's something like 4,000 meters below sea level,
Exactly.
Is that right?
Yes.
So nothing like this has ever been attempted before, I don't think.
Yeah, so it was back in, I think it was the 80s, it was 80s or 90s. There was trial mining that actually was done, and that was just post-Cold War in what was led by Henry Kissinger. A Henry Kissinger-led initiative to test this out. And what it was this is a big deposit for strategic assets, post-Cold War. And then what struggled to have this asset developed over the last kind of 1990 to 2010 was the law of the sea. And what I mean by that is this deposit lies in international waters, and the UN had to come in, which is really our landlord, and had to figure out, okay, here's this huge resource. I mean, we were on 60 Minutes in November, and as they call it, trillions of dollars of value. How do we divvy this up properly?
Right.
So the UN put in the International Seabed Authority, the ISA, to govern this area.
So it's no individual country that has a claim to it. It's the UN and all the countries working together, I guess.
All the countries are working together. Some countries through like China, state-owned enterprises have an interest, but DeepGreen is the only pure play way to play this space, and has become really the thought leader around the entire fairway, because that's all we focus on. These other companies might have it for strategic, like Lockheed Martin has a block. They have it for long-term strategic outlook. We have it for real focus on changing the resource industry. And our mission is to become the most respected natural resource company in the world. Respected from a environmental standpoint, from a social standpoint, from a governance standpoint, and help enable this electrification of transportation.
So you're a director, you're an investor. Presumably, part of the reason you chose to invest in this company is the team involved. Can you give us an overview of who it was that brought you in and why you were inspired to work with them?
For sure, and I'll say part of the other reasons I invested. So one was what I learned from LithiumX journey was, and we had a great success at that time in my life. It was life changing for me. But the next project that I wanted to get involved with in the natural resource space and become a board member and a major investor was I wanted size. Like I found that it's the same process to go after and run through really any development story. And the next one I wanted to be big. So this is big.
So a small project is as much work as a big project, and there's not the payoff there.
Yeah, I think so.
Scale,
or the impact, the payoff, or the impact. Something that I'm passionate about is the electrification of transportation. Third of all was the team, and the CEO is an Australian gentleman that lives in London named Gerard Barron. And Gerard has been involved with the company. He's actually a founding shareholder of Nautilus. He's been a part of DeepGreen since the beginning, and then over time realized that this was his life's mission and is committed his life to this company. And if you were to see how committed he is on the road with investors, being a thought leader in safe subsea mining, getting white papers done by the likes of Harvard and other institutions around the world, well-respected institutions. I mean, he really is the visionary that I felt comfortable with that was going to give this the best chance it could to create enormous impact.
Okay, so DeepGreen is currently a private company. So most people can't invest in it at home, but I think there's going to be a lot of people interested in this and maybe following the story. Can you tell us what people can look forward to over the next year or two? And hearing out of DeepGreen and what the plan is going forward?
I think at this stage, I would just recommend educating yourself. As an investor, just educate yourself on where this potential transition, I believe it is going to responsible and sustainable natural resource development offshore. And I think that's where it starts. Because right now we are, there's been about $100 million spent on the company so far. It's been mostly strategic investors like Maersk, the world's largest shipping company, for about a quarter of that. 50 million came in from Allseas, one of the world's largest manufacturers of ships. Glencore is an investor, the world's largest metals trading company. And then I'd say a couple handfuls of individuals like myself that believe that this is the solution to electrifying the grid in a responsible way. And I think now we've got some more work to do with strategic investors. And then I think it becomes an amazing opportunity for other investors, but we've still got some de-risking to do with big institutional investors that want to support us.
All right, Brian. Thinking about this in our conversation, if you guys pull this off and it becomes what you hope it will be and what you think it will be, do you basically ruin the whole concept of onshore mining? Is it not economical anymore to have a copper mine in the middle of the jungle somewhere or in a desert?
No. I just think that we're in a world that, Larry Fink came out last week with a new way to look at investing that's not just profit driven.
Yeah.
So if we're taking into consideration, we're entering this new world of stakeholder priority, not shareholder priority. A shareholder is part of a stakeholder complex, including the environment and socially. If we're going to this world where companies will be judged on an overall stakeholder approach, I think that DeepGreen will just pull away from all its competitors or comparables, but I still think that land mining is and has been where we've come from, but it's where we're going that I like to look for, given my age and the experience I've had. And I think over the coming decades, DeepGreen has the opportunity to become the most respected natural resource company in the entire world. They have the asset, they have the team, and now it's just a matter of walking through the stages of development.
All right. Thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.